All right, we are back. We are back. All right. So here we are. So we are at the stage where we need to build the like mechanism for the post. So what we need to do is not only that it needs to click, it need to increase the like when we click on the like buttons, but it's also need to also identify which post that the like button belongs to. So that is why it is a little bit more complicated, especially in order to scale this app. You needed to each like button is attached to one post, and in order to do that we need to associate the like button of each post to its own unique identifiers. If we don't do so, then when we click the like buttons of any post, it will automatically increase the like buttons, the likes in every other post. So yeah, we are at that stage. Now we need to do the copy object and array. Let's see what we need to do in order to solve the mechanism to solve the like buttons in our app.
Let's talk about copying objects and arrays because it doesn't work in quite the way you would expect. We just came across some pretty weird behavior in our main project. Let's just see if we can replicate that situation in a smaller block of code. Now over here, I've got a const called usersArray, and it holds an array which has just got one object with username and password properties. Now I'm going to set up a const called userObject, and I want this to hold the first and only object in this array. And of course that object is at index 0. Now let's just log out both of those consts. I'll open up the console, and when I hit save, well, we see pretty much what we would expect. The first console.log is logging out the entire array with the object inside it, and the second console.log is just logging out the object on its own. Next, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to update the username property of userObject. And I'm going to change the name from Tom to Wayne. Now let's hit save and keep an eye on the console. And what we see is that we have changed both userObject and usersArray. There's no sign of Tom. Tom has been completely replaced by Wayne. Now that is pretty strange because we thought that userObject was just a copy of the first object inside usersArray. And in a way, it was. What we've actually done is create a shallow copy. So let's take a simplified look at what happens when we try to copy a single object from our array. So firstly, we set up a const called usersArray, which holds an array of objects. JavaScript creates that array in memory, and the const basically holds a reference to that memory location. Now, if we copy an object from that array and save it to a new const called userObject, you would think that a new object was made in the memory and that this const would hold a reference to that new object's location, but actually you would be wrong. There is no new object in the memory and there is no reference to it. What happens is just that the properties in this const hold a reference to the existing memory location. There's still only one instance of these properties, username and password, in the memory, but it now has two references to it. So if you change anything in userObject, you'll also be changing the object in usersArray because they are the same thing. Now, the good news is this is not an issue if you're working with the other data types that we've been using, numbers, strings, booleans, what are often called the primitive data types. If you make a copy of one of those, a second instance is created in memory. Say the behavior is exactly what you would expect, a copy is independent of the original. But this is what happens when you work with objects and arrays, and if you don't know about it and you're not expecting it, it can really catch you out. Now, you might well ask, what if I want to make a real copy of an object or an array?
Right, so
Array
go
can
back to this.
Now, first console.log is going to update the username property of user object. And I'm going to change the name from Tom to Wayne. Now let's hit save and keep an eye on the console. And what we see is that we have changed both user object and user's array. There's no sign of Tom. Tom has been completely replaced by Wayne. Now that is pretty strange because we thought that user object was just a copy of the first object inside user's array. And in a way, it was. What we've actually done is create a shallow copy. So let's take a simplified look at what happens when we try to copy a single object from our array. So firstly, we set up a const called user's array, which holds an array of objects. JavaScript creates that array in memory, and the const basically holds a reference to that memory location. Now, if we copy an object from that array and save it to a new const,
so user array hold an array of object, right? That's correct.
Called user object, you would think that a new object was made in the memory and that this const would hold a reference to that new object's location, but actually you would be wrong. Right. There is no new object in the memory and there is no reference to it. What happens is just that the properties in this const hold a reference to the existing memory location. There's still only one instance of these properties, username and password, in the memory, but it now has two references to it. So if you change anything in user object, you'll also be changing the object in user's array because they are the same thing. Now, the good news is this is not an issue if you're working with the other data types that we've been using, numbers, strings, booleans, what are often called the primitive data types. If you make a copy of one of those, a second instance is created in memory. Say the behavior is exactly what you would expect, a copy is independent of the original. But this is what happens when you work with objects and arrays, and if you don't know about it and you're not expecting it, it can really catch you out. Now, you might well ask, what if I want to make a real copy of an object or an array? Well, there are ways of doing that. It's called making a deep copy. Now, we won't go into how to do that here because it's outside the scope of what we need for this project, but be aware that it is possible and it's only a Google search away. Okay, now we know what's going on.
How to make a deep copy. How to make a deep copy of an array in JavaScript. Oh, parse and stringified. Shallow versus deep clone. Nested copy. Console log nested array. Make some change 1 and 3. This is an array copy dot nested array. What? Parse and stringified.
We can continue with our main project where this behavior actually works in our favor. So when you're ready to get back to working with our tweets, move on to the next scrim where we'll be rendering our incremented like count. Okay, now we're back in our app, and now we understand that we can change the object we've saved to target tweet object, and that will actually change our original data. And we can use that to our advantage, because all we need to do now is call render. because the render function that we've got down here is just going to take the HTML it gets from getFeedHTML, and getFeedHTML is iterating over tweets data. So let's go ahead and call render, and I'll hit save, and now let's click on the like icon, and there we are. We are managing to like tweets, and we can come on to any tweet.
Right, so we run this document.getElement by ID equal in HTML get feed
we want and like it. Now, we have got an obvious problem here. We don't want to be able to like tweets multiple times. We want to be able to like a tweet.
Say it again.
And that we can change the object we've saved to target tweet object, and that will actually change our original data. And we can use that to our advantage, because all we need to do now is call render, because the render function that we've got down here is just going to take the HTML it gets from getFeedHTML, and getFeedHTML is iterating over tweets data. So let's go ahead and call render, and I'll hit save, and now let's click on the like icon, and there we are. We are managing to like tweets, and we can come on to any tweet we want and like it. Now, we have got an obvious problem here. We don't want to be able to like tweets multiple.
Right, so get feed, so it's actually updating target tweet object is going to be dot like, target tweet object is tweet data filters function tweet, return tweet dot uit equal tweet ID, target tweet object tweets data, right, filters. Okay. Right.
Multiple times. We want to be able to like a tweet once and then click it again to actually unlike it. So handle like click needs to have the ability to both increment and decrement. So that will be our next mission, and we'll come on to that in the next scrim. So we can like a tweet multiple times, which is bad, and we cannot unlike a tweet and decrement this likes count, which is also bad. So let's do some more work in this handle like click function to remedy that problem. Over in the data, each tweet has got a likes count, and it's also got an isLiked boolean, which is set to false by default. What we want handle like click to do is only increment this likes count
to check isLike.
If isLiked is false. If isLiked is true, handle like click should decrement the like count. And obviously, whichever of those two handle like click is doing, incrementing or decrementing, it should flip this isLiked boolean from true to false or false to true. So here's your challenge. When a tweet is liked, its isLiked property should be set to true. And remember, we've already got this line of code here, which is incrementing the likes. When a tweet is unliked, its isLiked property should be set to false, and its likes count should be decremented. Okay, you can write some logic right here to do that. Remember to include this line of code which increments. Pause now, work on this, and...
Right, so we do, let's do here, and we do if tweet dot isLike, tweet dot isLike, well, it's supposed to be target tweet dot isLike tweet status. It doesn't need to loop through the data, right? So target tweet dot isLike equal to true. but it's all in the beginning is set to false. So is target object when a tweet is like tweet is undefined. Sure, I write it right in here. If target tweet object right now is set to 0 is equal to tweet data dot like dot likes, then else if tweet target equal true, and it need to listen for click, right? Is click undefined, because when this is unlike, when this is like, property should be set to false when it's like. Right, let's do like first. True. It's like should be set to true. It likes should be set to true. So when it's false, you can click it. When this is not like, you can click it, and it gives you true. When it gives you true, then else if. So this is true. Oh yeah, this is already true. This gives you a 1. True. False. False. True. Because when it's already set to true always, right? So when you can click it, this should set to false. True and then false. True. is like equal to, must be equal. Not this, but true. Not this, but false. False. Right, so when it's equal to false, you can like it and you turn it to true, and else if it's true, then you can minus it. Right. Equal. Now you run into a problem where it keeps reducing. If tweet equal, let's say less than something, and then you would not be able to only toggle up and down. So else if target likes equal 26, target likes equal to now you run into a problem where, right, you like and dislike, like and dislike, and then it keep going to dislike because it's always going to be, oh, maybe set this to target, maybe here is false. Right, let's run this. True, false, true, false, true, false. Right, there we go. Ta-da!
And I'll see you back here in just a minute. This, I'm getting dryer property is set, this will execute, and what we want to do in here is actually decrement the likes count, because in this situation, the tweet is already liked. So I'm going to copy this line of code here, and object need to fit it into unlike, and the likes go back down to 20. Reduce it by
flip booleans.
Let's refactor handle like click just a little bit. When we click on a like icon, this function always flips a boolean. It takes is liked from true to false, or from false to true. Now we're doing that with these two lines of code, but I think we can refactor that down to just one line because JavaScript gives us a neat shorthand way of flipping booleans. So here's your challenge. I want you to delete the two lines of code marked below and replace them with just one line of code outside of the if-else. Now I've put your hint here. I want you to Google the logical not operator. That is this one that uses the exclamation mark. Now, if you used the logical not operator to complete the previous challenge, then you are one step ahead of us and you're welcome to sit this one out. Okay, pause now, take some time to do your research, and I'll see you back.
Not logical operators, JavaScript. Right, console.log, console A. Right, so console.log, logical not operator, take truth to falsity and vice versa. Very understandable, easy to understand. Operators take truth to falsity and vice versa. So I just read this. I think it's a lot easier to understand. So A equal 3, B equal less minus 2, console.log not return false if operand can be converted to true, otherwise return true. Return false, following code show example of logical not. If it not true, then it's return false. If it not false, then return true. Right, so maybe this is what we can do. If else, right, and then we do this. If else not false, right? Target tweet not false. How can we type it in here, right? Here not false is like not true, right? So it's not true, not true, not true, right? So it's right now is not true. If this is not true, this is not true, not true, so it's false. Give me a moment here. If it not true, if it not false, then we can increment. Else we can decrement. Let's try. Right, flip. Oh shit. If this is not true, so it's false. So you can like it. Else what would you get with this? That's weird. Let's see. Delete this. Run. Still 29. Then is like is equal to true. True. If it's not true, so now it's false. And we're like now else. Let's say in one line of code I can fix it. Not true, not true. So it's now it's not false, right? Because is like is false. So not true. So not false is true. So we do minus minus. And then I'm assuming this would be tweet target tweet object is like, because it's false, currently it's false, so it's not false, so it must be true, so it's liked. So when we click it, it need to decrement. Ay. Let's see. Equal. Delete the 2 line of code marked below and replace them with just 1 line of code. just outside of the if else. It's still plus plus plus. Here's plus plus. Run. It's like it's not false, so no, it's true. So it need to be equal to true. Right, so we just console log. Let's try and console dot log the this of the tweet object dot is like. Let's try and see what do we get. Like, so it's returned true because this is false and not false is true. So we do if target tweet object is not equal, it's not true, it's not false, then this, where is it? Target tweet likes dot likes dot likes plus, so it's like it's true, so it's minus. Else if and then we flip it to we can do else. And then we flip it to target tweet. Dot likes. Run this. Minus is true, so now we need to not false. Target tweet object dot is like equal true. Right, else if target tweet is like now is false, so now is target tweet likes plus plus. I'm not sure if this is the right way. Right, true. Now it keeps continue decrement. Fuck. true, true, true. What if I switch it to true? Still true. Still true. That's weird. Delete the 2 lines of code marked below and replace them with just 1 line of code outside of the if else. Then target tweet, if it's not false, so it's true. Then we do this, and we do target tweet is like to false. So we delete this too. Why am I making it complicated? Complication. Try this. Error unknown. Another bracket. So we delete this too. I don't think it took any effects onto it. Else if I'll need some hint.
Then down here, outside of the if object.isLiked. And what the logical not operator here will do is flip this one to the inverse state. So if it's true, it will flip it to false, and if it's false, it will flip it to true. Okay, let's just hit save.
Oh, so that is how it works. Right, we can do outside of this. Target tweet object dot is like equal to here target tweet is like is true minus minus plus plus. Right. Wow, this is
Save and see if it's working. And so I'll come on
messing
here
with
and
my
I'll
brain. It's messing a lot with my brain, guys.
like this tweet and unlike it. And there we are, it is working just fine. Right, that is really cool because we've actually got this like icon working. Now is a great time to take a break. When you're feeling refreshed, come back and we're going to look at making this retweet icon work. Now we've spent quite a lot of time on the like icon. The retweet icon is a very similar process, so we should be able to do it much more quickly. When you're ready for that, I'll see you in the next scrim. After all the dramas of getting this like icon to work, now we need to work on the retweet icon. Now the retweet icon is going to do roughly the same as the like icon. Clicking on it will increment the number of retweets. Clicking on it again will decrement that number. Now here's the good news. The logic that handles the likes and the retweets is largely the same. Let's just have a look at the JavaScript to refresh our memory. So the event listener identifies which icon was clicked. It calls a function, identifies an object in tweet's data. It then increments or decrements a number on that object, and it flips a Boolean on that object. Lastly, it calls the render function. Now let's have a quick look at the data. So each object has got this property likes that we've worked with, and it's also got a property retweets. Both of those are numbers. Likewise, we've worked with this isLiked Boolean, and we've also got this isRetweeted Boolean, and both of those are false by default. So when somebody clicks on the retweet icon, the retweets need to increment, and isRetweeted needs to be set to true. And likewise, when they click on it again, that number will be decremented, and isRetweeted will be set back to false. Okay, so let's do a little bit of work together. Over in index.js then, I'm going to come down here under handle like click, and I'm going to set up a new function called handle retweet click. And this function will also take in tweet ID as a parameter. Now it took us quite a few scrims to get the like icon to work, but I think you can get the retweet icon up and running in just one scrim. So it's challenge time, and I'm going to break this challenge up into two parts because I want you to write the code in two different places. Just bear with me while I paste the challenges in. Okay, so firstly, up here in the event listener, I want you to make this event listener call handle retweet click when the retweet icon is clicked. And I want you to pass in the UID from the tweet whose icon was clicked. So very, very similar to what we've done here. Once you've done that, come down to the second part of the challenge. Inside handle retweet click, I want you to find the retweeted tweets object in tweets data and save it to a const. Increment or decrement the retweet count of the tweet and flip its retweeted Boolean. And finally, call the render function. So again, very, very similar logic to what we've done here. And because that logic is so similar, you might be tempted to cut and paste. Please don't. Write out the code, build muscle memory, and really think about what each piece of code is doing as you write it. Okay, quite a lot to do here. Take all of the time you need. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. Pause now, get that retweet icon working, and I'll see you back here in just a minute.
Right, so what we do first is we do else if e-target e.target data set. So it's listening for a when the user click the retweet. Let me see. Right here is retweet. Right, retweet. Where's it? The FA heart. When they click, pretty sure it's just one retweet. Alright, retweet, tweet text, UI length, heart, dot likes. Now that's just print out the likes. Retweet. Where's the data set? There we go. Data, like, retweet. So just one, there's no S. So then now we do handle retweet click. Basically the same things. Now we wanted to target the data set of the post that we click on. So retweet. So which post that we clicking on? Is it Elon or is it Trollbot or whatever? Make this the valid listener call handle click when user click. So now let's do console dot log. Right, and then this undefined. Run undefined. Oh, because Scrimba doesn't allow you to access what is in there. That's why. So yes, then we do the same things for this. Handle click, handle like, and handle everything. So we do, first of all, we need to check if tweet object, alright, target tweet object is equal to tweet data filters. This to check out the UID is the same. The unique ID is going to be the same on the which posted it. So we do, let's do const target tweet. Let's name it the same. Tweet object. What if I can? No, I don't think it works like that. Find a retweet tweet object in tweet dataset, save it to const, and do const target tweet. Let's call this retweet. Right, and then we do equal to function. Yeah, tweet data set, tweet datas dot filters function, and then we do tweet. Right, and what we need to do next is that return the tweet target dot UUID equal to the tweet ID. Right, tweet ID. Right, so now let's try and console.log that out. Target tweet. Let's try. So now we got it. We got the oh, and this need to be an array. You need to go into the array, so that it's not going to be giving out you it's not going to giving out you an array of stuff, right? So this is an array. You want it to be an object so that you can access into is like, is retweet. Right, let's just run it back. Right, there we go. We have the array of an object, the object of which post that we click on. So let's try this. This is Elon. Right, so now what we need to do is that we need to access into target tweet. Now you need to do the retweet and untweet. Yeah, we need to do that as well. So now we do basically the same things. Target tweet, retweet. So now it's true, if true, right? If true, then it is dot is retweet. So now we have is retweet. Is retweet. So it's going to give you false. It's going to give you true, right? True. It's true. It's always going to be true, right? So this is going to be target tweet dot retweet plus minus minus. So if it's true, it's going to be minus minus. So now it's not true. Now else we do target tweet retweet equal to false. No one else, there's nothing. So we do this, and then we do plus 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 plus, run. Why is it not working? Retweets right here. Target dot retweet. It has to be inside this function. Yep, everything is inside function. Dot likes. Target tweet retweet. Why is it not working? If target tweet retweet is retweeted, so now it's false. It's true. If it's false, also if it's false, retweet plus plus. 0 0 plus plus. We haven't run Maybe that is why. Run this. Yep. So we need to click run this in order to update the HTML with it so it can be displayed. But now it is still always going to be false because the retweet, the is retweet of the target tweet retweet is always false because here in the doc, in the data.js, is always set to false. So now what we need to do is we flip. So we do target tweet retweet dot is retweeted equal to not I'm assuming that is the one. So you don't have to put it into brackets. Right. So if target tweet retweet is retweet equal to not the one, so reassign it into this. So now this here is false, but equal to not false, so it's true. So now it true. Oh, and then it flip back. Right. Got it. Got it. Wow.
Okay, so hopefully you got that working just fine. Let's tackle the first part of the challenge. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use an else if. Now you might have done this with an if, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So we want this else if to check if the click came from an element with a data attribute called retweet. And we can do that by taking the event, accessing the target, which will give us the element that was clicked, and then checking to see if that element has a data attribute of retweet. And if it does, we want to call the new handle retweet click function. And we can access that element's retweet data attribute with this code right here. So let's pass the contents of that data attribute to handle retweet click. And we know the data attribute contains the UID of the tweet that was clicked. Okay, so why did I go for an else if here instead of just using another if? Well, both would work. When we have several ifs, they will be called one after another. That's not a big problem here, as only one of the ifs is going to run, as the element only has one data attribute, either like or retweet. So if you just used an if, that's going to work just fine. Now, because we know we only want to call one function, either handle like click or handle retweet click, if the click comes from a like icon, we don't actually need this code to run. And that's what the else if does. It only runs if this if doesn't run, because whatever is inside these brackets returns false. So rather than run unnecessary code, let's only check if the retweet icon was clicked when we're sure that the like icon wasn't clicked. Is that going to make a big difference to performance? No, absolutely not. So if you did this with two ifs, it is going to work absolutely fine. I would argue it's slightly better practice to use an else if in a situation where this if only needs to be checked if this if did not run. Okay, let's go on to the second part of the challenge down in handle retweet click. And the first thing that we need to do in here is set up a const, and I'm going to call it target tweet object. And by the way, it's absolutely no problem to have two consts with the same name. They are only available inside the scope of their functions. Now what we need to do next is call the filter method on our data. So I'll set that equal to tweets data and call the .filter method right here. And we need to pass the filter method a function. And that function needs to take in a parameter that will represent each element in the array. And this is an array of tweets, so let's call this parameter tweet. Now in the return statement, we're going to have the filter method's test. And that test will be to see if the tweet's UID is triple equals to tweet ID. And if that test returns true, the tweet we're looking for will be added to target tweet object. Now, at the moment, target tweet object is an array, and as the UID is unique, only one object will pass this test, so we can be sure that target tweet object will have a length of 1. So we can access that single element at index 0. And so let's just put 0 inside square brackets right here. So now, target tweet object holds an object. Next comes the if-else. So what we want to check then is whether target tweet objects is retweeted property is true or false. So let's say target tweet object dot is retweeted. Now, if that is true, we want to decrement the number that's held in the retweets property. So we can say target tweet object dot retweets, and then we can decrement that with minus minus. Now, in the else, we can deal with the situation where is retweeted target tweet object. Before we can include it, we need to know a bit about how we, and look at that. Wow, that was a big challenge. And if you got it working, definitely brag to someone about it. Give yourself the kudos you deserve. Okay, so when we're clicking like and retweet, the numbers are incrementing and decrementing. But in real Twitter, the icons would also change color.
Should not brag.
That's a nice feature, but before we can include it, we need to know a bit about how we can conditionally render styles. So let's take a scrim away from Twimber and look at that next.
Conditionally renders.
We have already seen how we can use JavaScript to add or remove an element's CSS classes. But what I want to look at now is how we can conditionally include a class in HTML string that we're going to render to the DOM. I want to give elements different classes under different conditions. Back at Triassic World, I have refactored a bit. We're no longer hard-coding this image, we are rendering it out with this render function, and we've got the HTML for it right here with its icons. Now, a lot of this code is very similar to code that we've got in our main project. We have got an event listener right here. It's listening out for clicks anywhere on the document, and we're using this if or else if to figure out which of the two icons was clicked. Was it the icon with the data attribute of like or the icon with the data attribute of share? So what are we aiming for? Well, I want to make it so that clicking on this heart icon turns the heart icon red. Now, at the moment, up in this event listener, if the click comes from an element with the data attribute of heart, we are logging out this heart. Let's just check to see if it's working. And it is. Every time we click it, we log out a heart. So how can we make the heart icon turn red? Well, over in the CSS, I have set up a class called liked, and all it does is set the color property to this hex code, which is a shade of red. So let's go back to index.js. We'll come down here. We've got the heart icon right here. Why don't I add liked to this class list? Now I'll hit save. And there we are. The heart has turned red. What I'm going to do now is swap out this for a variable, and I'm going to call this variable heart class. And like any variable that we put in HTML string that we're going to render out, we're going to use the $sign and the curly braces. Now, of course, this is not going to work because we need to actually set up heart class. But let's do that right here, just inside the render function. Now, I'm going to set this up using a let because we want to be able to change this. Now, let's initialize heart class with an empty string. And if we save right now, the heart icon should go back to white. And there we are. It's gone back to white. We're actually including just an empty string in this class list, so it's not doing anything. If we go ahead and put liked in here, and now I hit save, there we are. It's turned red. Okay, so we can start to see what we're doing here. Let's put that back to an empty string. Okay, next, let's come right up here, outside of the render function, above the event listener, and I'm going to set up a Boolean. And again, this one is going to change, so I'm going to declare it using a let, and I'm going to call it isLiked. And I'm going to initialize this Boolean to false. Now, in the real world, this Boolean would likely be in some data along with all of the other info for this image. We've got this Boolean hard-coded. We're kind of simplifying it because we've only got one image to work with. Now, you can probably see where I'm going with this. I'm going to come down here to the render function underneath the heart class variable, and I'm going to set up an if. And what I'm going to check for is whether isLiked is true. And if isLiked is true, let's update heart class to hold the string liked. So now heart class contains liked, which is the name of the CSS class that we've already got set up. Okay, let's hit save, and the heart should still be white, which it is. Now let's come up here to the Boolean and let's flip that to true. I'll hit save. And there we are, the heart has turned red. Okay, back to the default false for is liked. And now we need to do some work inside the event listener. So instead of logging out a heart, let's just flip this Boolean. And we know a shorthand way of doing that. So we can say is liked is equals to, and then we can use the logical not operator and just is liked. And that will flip the Boolean to its inverse state, true to false and false to true. Now if we hit save, we'll click on the heart icon and nothing's going to happen. Why not? We've forgotten to do something. We need to call a render. So let's just call the render function from right here. Now I'll save again. And we can click the icon and it turns red. Click it again, turns white. We can like and unlike that image. Now we're only half done. We have got this share icon right here, and over in the event listener, there's this empty else if sitting here ominously. Can you tell what your challenge is? Well, let me cut and paste it right up here. I'm putting it here right at the top because you're going to need to write code throughout this file. I want you to add functionality so that when a user clicks the share icon, it turns green. Clicking it a second time should return it to white. Now, over in index.css, we have got a class shared, and that sets the color to lime green. Okay, pause now, take all of the time you need, look at the code we've already written. Of course, that code's going to help you a lot. Don't cut and paste, write all of the code yourself. And when you're ready, I'll see you back here in just a few moments and we'll have a look at it together.
All right, so first of all, what we need to do is we declare a less is share equal to false because we haven't shared, so it stay at is share false, right? Then next one, since he already coded this part where it's click listening for click on the heart and the share buttons, what we can do, let's say render out and let's see what happens. Nothing. Right, so what we need to do is so at the moment it's like is equal to false, so when is share is share is equal to false, now we want to is share to not be false, so it's going to be true, not is share. Right, so we flip, so is share is false, equal to not is share, so it's not false, so it's true. And then when it's true, it's going to do else if is share is else if is share is true, so now it's going to run this let share, let's say share class, so that is going to be the same, equal to, so now we update it. In order to update it, we go into the HTML and we do the same things here. We do share class, so now it's empty, there's nothing in it, so there's nothing happen. So now we need to input the share class, call it shared CSS shared. Now run the code, share class, HTML is like, so share. Now share is going to be in here. We haven't renders, right? In order to offer it to works, now it's share. Now, okay, so let's do a recap of this. So document is listening to a click on the document. So if the target is going to be the hot buttons, then it is going to give you it's going to flip your it's like into not it's like the state of it. So it's false. The beginning is false, and then now it's equal to not false, so it's true. And then it's going to go into this function called renders, and it run this function let head class equal to nothing, to empty. It's an empty string, and then is if it's like, so this is true, then hot class is equal to liked, and then it's updated into the HTML class. Now it has a liked class onto it. And now if you go into the CSS, there's a like colors of red. Now this thing is red, so now it is true. Now this is true. So if click onto this, now everything is like it's true. Now it's flipped back. Now we click it again, it's become false. So it continue doing that. Yeah, like share. Well, a little bit complicated, a little bit like brain, like mind manipulation. I don't know. But
okay, so hopefully you got that working just fine. Let's come right down here to the icons, and in here I'm going to set up a new variable, and I'm going to call this one share class. And now let's create share class up here, and we'll initialize it to an empty string. Up at the top, let's set up our boolean. So we've got boolean, and of course we need, and then we can update share class. And now we just need the name of that class, and in the CSS, it is just without icons so that the user can clearly see if they've liked or retweeted. When you're ready to get onto that, I'll see you in the next scrim. Right now, our user experience is a bit lacking. We can like and we can retweet, but we're not getting any visual feedback on those icons. That means we can't actually see which tweets we've liked and which tweets we've retweeted unless we actually remember these numbers. Now, what I'm looking for is this. I want to be able to come onto a tweet, like it, and have that like icon turn red. That red heart really signifies that we like the tweet. Likewise, I want to be able to click on the retweet icon, have it turn green, and if I change my mind, I can click on it again and it will go back to its original gray, and also I can unlike a tweet and set that back to the original gray. So what we need to do is conditionally render some styles. Now, I've already done the CSS for this. Over in the CSS, we have got these two selectors, liked and retweeted. Now, liked sets the color to red, and retweeted sets the color to lime green. And those are the two colors that you can see when we've liked and retweeted right here on this slide. Okay, let's do a bit of work in the JavaScript. So I'm going to come here inside this for each where we're iterating over our tweets, and I'm going to set up a new let here, and I'm calling it like icon class because this is going to hold the class name for the like icon when a tweet has been liked. Now, when a tweet hasn't been liked, it doesn't need to have this new class name. So we're actually going to initialize this to an empty string so it has no extra class name by default. Okay, time for you to do some work. I'm I want you to use an if statement to set the value of like icon class to the string liked if the tweet icon has been liked. Now you'll remember this is the CSS class that we've got right here, this one that will turn the icon red. And if we go over to the data, each object has got a property called isLiked. And so what we need to do is make the icon turn red when this Boolean is set to true. Okay, when you've done that, you need to come down to the like icon tag and add like icon class to its list of classes. So that is right down here on line 78. We've got the icon class, and that is where you'll need to do a bit of work. Okay, pause now, get this challenge sorted, and I'll see you back here in just a minute.
Right, so first of all we need to do is let's just add this so that we're not going to forgot about it. So like icon class. Right, so now that's empty, this is empty. So tweet data that for each is going to run through, it's going to loop through the tweet data that for each, right, loop through all that. And let's do, right, use if statement to set the value of like icon to string like. If it clicked, where's the click function? Right here. So if this is clicked, then we do wait, give me a moment. Click, let's run this. This is click, listening for this click. Right, so click is going to be use an if statement to set the value of like icon to string liked. Use an if statement to set the value of like icons to string like. I don't think it will be here. So if statement value of, I think it's supposed to be here. It's going to be is like icon is equal to not. No, it's supposed to be is like handle click e.target. Let's go down here. So if call this tweet data, if tweet dot is like is true, tweet dot is like, use an if statement to set the value, then like class is equal to this like, and then let's run this. There we go. So tweet is like, since it's already toggle somewhere else, tweet dot is like, so when we click on it, handle handle click right here is return you with likes is like is not equal to target tweet object is like. So it's already handling you with that. When it loops through this, that feed HTML, when it loops through tweet data, let like icon is equal to this. Why is it in here? Would it be better if I put it right into handle click? So when it clicked, like people, it would recognize it. Handle click. Well, might be a good question to ask.
That we've got in the class name stored in this variable. So we need to go down to the like icon. So let's just add it on the, and there we are. Look, I can like it and it turns red. And we can do that with all of our tweets. Let's try and unlike them. And that also works. So there we are. We are conditionally rendering a red style for our like icon. Now we're not quite done because we still need to deal with the retweet icon. So let's come back up here and
let's do the same things for else tweet dot isShare is retweeted. Is it the one? Then the let tweet icon class equal to this. Now we do the same things for this. Click change it to share. So we do like. No, we do tweet icon class equal to this, and then we do shared. Why is it? Oh. Else if share icon class, tweet icon class, tweet icon class. Is it a share or is it a tweet? Tweet, 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 retweeted, retweeted, retweeted. Right, now it's update, update. That's good.
I am going to set up a new let, and can you guess what I'm going to call that let? You might be surprised to hear that it's called retweet icon class. And likewise, I'm going to initialize it to an empty string. Now I'm going to cut and paste you a new challenge, although I think you can probably guess exactly what that challenge is. And here it is. I want you to use an if statement to set the value of retweet icon class to the string retweeted. Now, just find retweet, we'll give it a try. Already much better. You're right. Later in the day, that if this code up here is looking a bit awkward and you're thinking, surely there's a better way of doing this. Well, actually, you're right. Later in the course, but not in this module, you will look at a more concise way of writing if statements, and that would make this code actually much neater and much more concise. But for now, this is working just fine. Right, now is a great time to take a break. When you come back, we have got one more icon to deal with. It's this replies icon, and clicking it should show or hide a tweet's replies. When you're feeling refreshed and ready for that, I'll see you in the next scrim.
Right. Let me grab some coffee, and then I will go back. 1999. All right. Right.
Some of our tweets have got replies. If we have a look at the data, we can see that this replies property is an array. In this first tweet, the array is empty because this tweet does not have any replies, and we've got the 0 here right next to the replies icon. In the second tweet, the array has got 2 objects, and each object Some of our tweets have got replies. If we have a look at the data, we can see that this replies property is an array. In this first tweet, the array is empty because this tweet does not have any replies, and we've got the 0 here right next to the replies icon. In the second tweet, the array has got 2 objects, and each object is a reply. A reply is a simplified version of a tweet. It's got a handle, a profile pic, and some tweet text. Now, what we're aiming for with these replies is this. I want to be able to read a tweet and Elon is saying, I need volunteers for a one-way mission to Mars, no experience necessary. I click on the replies and we can see that Tom Cruise says, yes, sign me up, and Chuck Norris, I went last year. Chuck Norris always gets there first. Now this is going to take us several scrims, and the first task is going to be to identify the tweets that have replies. We can do that with an if statement, and over in index.js, I have got a challenge waiting for you. Use an if statement to check if a tweet has replies. If it does, just log out the UID for that tweet. And the purpose of this is that we should log out the UID of all of the tweets that have got replies, but not log out the UID for this first tweet, which doesn't have any replies. Okay, pause now.
Right, so using if statement, if tweet has a reply, if it doesn't log out the UID for the tweet. Well, let's try. Let's go down here. If statement to check if a tweet dot has reply equal true. Replies. If it's true, then console.log has replies. Else if else tweet text replies. That's console log the first. Console dot log the first tweet dot replies. Console.log. So there's an empty that has a handle, everything else. Right. And give it in a boolean how to console.log a boolean, a value, and give it in Boolean type. I remember there's like a console log method that it gives you, is it true or false, like true, false, false, something like that. But I forgot about it. Use an if statement. Dot value. Dot value. Let's see. Undefined, undefined, undefined. Right, so if reply is if tweet dot replies, and then if it has something in it, has something in this boolean. Let's try this first and let's see. True. Then this is console.log has tweet. Try this. Has tweet, has tweet, has tweet. tweet.uuid. Right, there we go. Yee!
Get this sorted, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. A tweet has replies. Now, over in data.js, we know that we've got this replies property, which holds an array. So what we want to do is check the length of the array. So if an array has a length which is greater than 0, we know that that tweet has got replies. So what we need to check for then is if tweet.replies.length is greater than 0.
Right, so that is
If
a better way.
greater than 0, let's log out tweet.uid. Okay, that completes the challenge. Let's see if it's working. Now, if I open up the console, we can see 2 UIDs. Now, let's flip over to the data and see what we've got. So this first tweet has a UID which ends in 223EE, and we can't see that UID in the console. That's perfect because we've got no replies to see what...
I understand the requirement wrong. So if that's 0, let's try and fix it. Length less than 1. Do nothing. Otherwise, print out UID. Right. console.log. Maybe we can console.log this and call this no tweet. Okay.
Okay, that completes the challenge. Let's see if it's working. Now, if I open up the console, we can see two UIDs. Now, let's flip over to the data and see what we've got. So this first tweet has a UID which ends in 223EE, and we can't see that UID in the console. That's perfect because we've got no replies here. This array will have a length of 0. Down on Elon's tweet then, his UID ends TGS2, which we can see, and he has got, of course, two replies. So we're successfully identifying the tweets that have got replies. Our next job will be to take these replies and get them into some HTML boilerplate. When you're ready for that, I'll see you in the successfully...
Right, let's go to replies 2.
Okay, so we're aiming to get these replies rendered onto the screen. So the next thing that we need to do is iterate over the replies for each tweet and get them into some HTML boilerplate. But before I set you a challenge, let's lay a couple of foundations together. The first thing that I'm going to do is come over to the JavaScript, and just above the if that we created in the last challenge, I'm going to set up a new let. Now this let will hold the HTML for the replies, so I'm going to call it replies HTML. We'll be updating this as we iterate, so let's initialize it to an empty string. Next, I'm going to come right down here to the bottom of the HTML string, and right here I'm going to add a div to the boilerplate to hold the string of HTML for the replies, which will be in the let that we've just created. Now this div has an ID which is not yet complete. As part of your challenge, you're going to have to replace these uppercase letters. Now including the tweet's UID in this ID is going to allow us to take control of this div later, so we can choose when it's visible and when it's hidden. And I've just put a prompt in here that this is exactly where those replies are going to live. That is actually going to be the string of HTML that we just created up here. Okay, it's time for a challenge, which is split into two parts. Firstly, we need to put some logic inside this if statement. If a tweet has replies, iterate through the replies and wrap each one in the HTML template provided below. So we've got that right here. Make sure to replace the words in uppercase with data from the tweet. So we need the profile pic, so that's for the source for the image, and we need the handle and of course the tweet text. On each iteration, add this HTML to replies HTML. When you've done that, come back down to the bottom, and we know we've got this new div and the replies are going to live here. So I've just put place replies HTML in its parent div, remembering to update that div's ID. So you've got those uppercase letters there where we need the tweet's UID. When you've completed the challenge, you should see the replies in the HTML just like we've got here. And at the moment, they will be visible. There won't be any way of hiding them. Okay, pause now, get to work on both of those challenges. Start with this one up here. And when you're ready, we'll have a look together in just a few moments.
Right, so let's restart this. And has tweet. Okay. So now what we do is if a tweet has reply, iterate through the replies and wrap each one in the HTML replies provide below. Right, so let's see. Let's put it here. So we do tweet data dot for each dot replies dot for each. It's going to be a function called this reply, and then this is going to loop through all the replies and wrap each one in the HTML template provided below. So we do where's it? We do replies.html plus equal to here we have this, and then tap in. There's this. Let's make them right here. Okay, that's good. So now it's going to iterate through tweet replies, and then the replies.html is plus equal to this. Let's go print out that, and it's returning. All right, let me check. Alrighty, right here. So there's a bracket there, and I need to put it right in between here. So return replies HTML. Cannot reading for each. Reply dot for each tweet. How about now? Console.log. Where's everything else? All right, let's do tweet reply. Let's put all this in first. Then we do replies, handles, replies dot handle. Here is going to be tweet dot replies dot handle. Same things on this. It's going to be tweet text, and then profile picture is going to be here. It's going to be hash this, and then we put in profile picture. Profile pictures. Let's see what happens. Tweet dot replies for each. Replies here. Tweet UDE. Div ID. Tweet is going to be tweet dot UUDID. Let's delete the console log of this. Now if tweet length is less and larger than 0, then the tweet is going to loop through all of that. Make sure to replace word and uppercase with data from the tweet on each iteration. Add this HTML to replies dot replies HTML. Right. Run. Nothing happens. So let's try and console log replies HTML. So we have everything here. Let's try and see undefined So tweet. What if I do tweet datas? Tweet replies, tweet replies. Now in here, tweet UUID. Right. Undefined. It print out, but it doesn't say anything else. Place the replies HTML in its parent div parent, remembering to update the div ID. Reply here. Place the reply in its parent div. Parents div, remembering to update that div ID.
We know tweet.replies is an for each a function, and this function needs a parameter to represent each element in this array. This is an array of replies.
Yes, so it's replies. So it's running each replies. No, it's tweet.
So let's call this parameter reply. And for each reply, we want to update replies HTML with the boilerplate string. So let's take that one, and we're going to use plus equals, and then I'll add backticks. Now we can just paste in this HTML string that we've got right here. And of course, we need to update all of the uppercase. So for profile pic, let's pop over pic. Now we've apply.tweet text.
Why I cannot use this? Oh, okay, got it. Reply. Because it's looped into the replies already. Right. My bad. Reply. Right, so we got all of it. So now what we need to do is reply / tweet UUID. So place the reply HTML in its parent apply.html. There we go. So now let's print out something else. Feed.html, render feed, get feed.html. Right, render get feed.html. Right.
Okay, that is the
Makes
first
sense.
challenge sorted. Let's go down to the bottom of the page. So what we need to do here then is put replies HTML inside its parent div. Now, this is a variable and we're updating this template string. So we need the $ and the curly braces, and it's replies HTML. The last thing we need to do is replace the uppercase we've got right here. Now, we're working inside this massive for each, which starts all the way up here, and each tweet is represented by this parameter tweet. So down in this template string, then, we need to do the same as we've done everywhere else and just say, with the $ and the curly braces, tweet.uid. So now this div has got a unique ID, which is going to allow us to take control of it and show it and hide it as we please. Okay, let's hit save and see if this has worked. Well, there are no replies on this first tweet, so there's nothing to see there. But if we scroll down, we can see it is working. Elon has got his 2 replies, Tom Cruise and Chuck Norris. And if we scroll down, NoobCoder12 has asked a perfectly reasonable question. Stack Overflower has given a typically obnoxious answer. And YummyCoder64 is sending all of the love. Okay, that is looking really cool. Now, the next thing that we need to think about is allowing the user to show or hide these replies. Now, if we pop over to index.css, right down at the bottom, we have got a class which is called hidden. And it's set to display none. Now, what I'm going to do is come back to the boilerplate that we were working on, and I'm going to give this div the class hidden. Now, when I hit save, these replies should disappear, and there we are, they're gone. So to get those replies back, what we're going to need to do then is take control of this div, and then we can actually toggle this hidden class on it, and then we'll be able to show and hide the replies. Okay, we'll be coming on to that in the next scrim. When you're ready for that, I'll see you there.
So basically it's just like a switch, right? So when people click on this buttons, I'm assuming it's toggle class into display block, something like that.
So we know the replies are right here inside this HTML boilerplate, but at the moment they are hidden. And we want them to be hidden by default, but when the reply icon is clicked, we want those replies to appear. And but at the moment they are hidden. We want them to disappear. Now, we're going to do this by identifying the div where the replies for that tweet are held and toggling the CSS class of hidden on that div. Now, before we get to any challenges, let's lay a few foundations together. Up near the top of our JavaScript, we've already got 2 functions that handle clicks on icons. We've got handle like click and handle retweet click. What I want to do next then is set up a function which will handle clicks on reply icons. And guess what? I'm going to call this function handle reply click. Now we need to do some work up in the event listener. Let's call handle reply click from inside the event listener if a reply icon is clicked. And we know how to do that as we've done this process several times by now. So I'm going to set up an else if, and I'm going to check if the clicked element, which we can get to with e.target, and I can do that with dataset.reply. If the clicked icon does have a data attribute called reply, let's call handle reply click. Now, handle reply click is going to work on toggling these replies between visible and hidden. To do that, it's definitely going to need to know the UID of the tweet whose reply icon was clicked. So we've got that information right here in the data attribute called reply. So let's pass that information to handle reply click. And before we forget, let's go back to the handle reply click function and take in a parameter. And that parameter I'm going to call reply ID because it's going to hold the UID, which is identifying the tweet whose reply icon was clicked. Okay, now it's time for you to do some work. I'm going to cut and paste.
Was it not? Oh, reply ID. Yeah. Tweet ID.
This challenge inside the handle reply click function because that is where I want you to be writing code. So I want you to use the UID stored in reply ID to take control of the div containing that tweet's replies. Now I've put check the HTML string below to remind yourself what ID that div will have. Right down to the bottom of the boilerplate, we've got the div right here, and it's got this ID here where we've included the tweet's UID. Once you've taken control of that element, the next thing I want you to do is toggle the CSS class of hidden on that div. When you've done that, you should see that when you click on a reply icon of a tweet that's got replies, you can show the replies and indeed hide them as well. Okay, pause now, get that challenge sorted, and I'll see you back here in just a minute.
Use the UID store in reply ID to take control of the div containing that tweet replies, right? So reply ID, tweet ID, tweet ID. So we basically do the same things. Right, use the filters, use the UID store in reply ID to take control of the div. Reply ID. Check the HTML string below to remind yourself what ID that div will have. Toggle the CSS class hidden on that div. So we do so it's already hidden. Let's do const target reply tweet reply equal to tweet datas. Basically copy the same things. Dot filters to filter out which tweet, and then return tweet UID equal to reply ID, and then we want it to be accessed as, right, use the UID store in reply ID to take control of the div containing that tweet replies. And now we want to render it. Try and see. Let's console.log reply ID. Run. Yes, now let's give out the reply ID of which post that we are accessing to it. So now what we need to do is that we need to toggle the class. So we do class hidden. So it's always going to be class hidden. Only when we change it, go up here and we do let, what is it called? Class hidden reply icon class is equal to hidden, right? And when listeners to this, when it click, then the reply icon class toggle the class. Let reply icon class equal to hidden equal to nothing. Let's do nothing first. And then we put it into here. It's always at hidden. And when the person click it, toggle the class. If target tweet replies dot what is it called, dot the when the person click onto this, just like this, toggle something else. Like FD is tweeted, is true. Retweets. Let's see. Target tweet replies. Safest first. Put this here. Replies. Check the HTML string to remind yourself what ID that div will have. Tweet reply length. Retweet icon class. Reply icon class is equal to hidden if the tweet reply dot reply ID if the tweet UD this is hard. Toggle the CSS class hidden on that div. Let's do here is going to be reply icon class, and let do the let equal to hidden reply icon class. Why is it like that? Reply icon class hidden reply icon class is not maybe what we need to do is just change the class. When let's do a function, let's do reply ID, let's do this one that match the UUID. Let's do this. Dot advanced listeners. Change class. Change CSS class. Right style dot property equal new style. Maybe this. Documents dot get element by ID. Paste it in. Can this work? Right. Not sure if that would works. Dot style. Dot. What is it called? Display, right? Display. Equal to block. Let's try that. E is not defined. Let style when it listening for this click. No, I don't think it is. Quite stuck. Quite stuck, hey. Let me take this first. So now it match. Yeah, let's try and console.log to target tweet reply. Run this. Doesn't give you the UUID. Toggle the CSS class hidden on that div. Use the UUID store and reply ID to take control of the div containing that tweet replies. That's hard. Let's look for hint.
Okay, so hopefully you got that working just fine. I think we can do this with one line of code. Now we want to take control of an element, so let's do that with document.
Wait, so I'm doing it all wrong? Use the take control of the div containing that tweet replies. Right, so document.get element by ID, .get elements by ID, and then we do replies. Reply tweet.uuid. Oh, so it's already clicked. Oh my god. Dot style dot display equal to block replies maybe by class name, and then here's hidden display block. Now try. I'm so stupid. Setting display. Cannot set property of undefined. Setting display. What if I try colors? Let's call it black. Undefined colors. Style.colors. Style dot cannot set property of undefined. Why is it undefined? Get element by class name, by ID. It's going to be replies slash, maybe this is the correct way to say it. Just need to put it into there and it would work. Right, let's try. run. Cannot change.
.get element by ID. Now the ID that we want is right down here in this boilerplate. So it's replies dash and then the tweets UID. So up here, what we need then is to open up some backticks, and it's replies dash and then the tweets UID, which we've got stored hidden on that div. So let's access the class list. And now we're getting to quite a long line of code. I'm just going to move the mini browser out of the way, and we will use .toggle. And we just need to give that the name of the class we're toggling. Okay, let's hit save and see if it's working. So this first tweet has got no replies. Let's come down to Elon. I'll click on the replies icon.
This is something new. I haven't went through this. So let's try it again. So you need to be backtick. And then we do replies slash reply ID. And then it cannot be style or anything like that, so it need to do class list dot toggle equal hidden. Try and run. Why is it like this? Maybe I need to render it. That's why. Nope. Toggle class hidden. Class list dot toggle. Oh, it's in the same. Okay, got it. Hidden. Oh wow, this is something that I haven't learned yet. Class list toggle. What if I can do class list toggle to this handle retweet click? Alright, it can toggle.
I'll click on the replies icon, and there we are getting our replies. And let's check out the replies to Noob Coder 12. So are you a coder if you only know HTML? Perfectly reasonable question. Well, if we scroll down, Stack Overflower has given a typically obnoxious answer, and Yummy Coder 64 is just sending lots of love and positive vibes. Okay, that is pretty cool. We can show our replies, we can hide our replies, everything is working just as we want it to. Right, that was quite a hard slog, but you made it, and you should be very, very pleased with yourself. The next thing to move on to is the ability to actually write a tweet. So that's what we'll be coming on to next, and we're actually going to start off with thinking about the fact that we've got 2 event listeners, and I think we can make our code drier. Now, before we come on to that, this is a really good time to take a break, and then when you're feeling refreshed, you can come
guys,
back.
I think I'm going to take a break from now. Maybe we'll be able to do it at night tonight, or maybe I'm going to learn doing something a little bit less intense. Yeah. See you guys. Maybe tonight we will keep doing the CompTIA A+ course. Yeah. All right.